here I am, in the place to be. Mr. KMB, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop.
Thor, pretty normal. Like, this movie's critically, it's very positive, and fans aren't super loving it.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying, is like, it was supposed to be this huge thing, and it's just not doing great so far. It's doing well financially, which, let's be honest.
Well, you know,
it's a Marvel movie. It's gonna do well financially, especially when it has, like, no competition.
Do you think, though, people are on a superhero burnout?
I think so. I don't even think it's just a superhero. I think it might be specifically Marvel. Like, Marvel hasn't done very much new in the last, 5 years.
Well, it's that weird thing. If it's broke, don't fix it. But now,
it's breaking a little.
It's breaking a little, and I don't know. I gotta say, I watched that last episode of Miss Marvel. A lot of things wrapped up really, really quick, and I just realized I was like, wait, one more episode left.
Yeah. I was just like, wait, you watched the last episode?
No,
you meant episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5, and I realized, I was like, wow, they tend to make these shows, here's 6 episodes, there's really no, and that's the thing about the shows, they don't.
It's funny because, it's funny because it's like, we have more story to tell than a movie, but less than an actual full-on TV show. So we're going to make a compromise and make like 7.5 hours of content.
And go nowhere.
Where it could have been like 3-4 hours of content in a movie, but it would have been too long to get that story across. Like, that's how I'm feeling about most things that Marvel's doing. Like, Loki is one of the shows that I watched and I went, okay, you needed a lot of episodes for this. WandaVision, same thing. Mm-hmm. Like, but WandaVision, the other reason it worked like it did was because they framed it, each beginning of an episode, as its own time period for the first 4.
And Loki added more to the phase than I think
anything else.
Yeah, anything else, because they're like, yo, here's Kang the Conqueror. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're like that's supposed to be the next big baddie. And the next time Kang pops up is in Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, Quantumania.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be early next year too. So.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, we've had all these movies and nothing's pointing towards that threat.
Well, and I think we only have one more movie before that one, too, right? We have the Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that's in November. I realized looking at the calendar, I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. But I'm KMB The Sexy Ninja.
And I'm Doug.
This is fueled. This is powered. This is given this power. You know, I just fucked that up. But crazyhoodies.com with a Z, crazyhoodies.com with a Z. Big Daddy's designs and stuff like that, they're awesome. You can get some hoodies or get all types of other merchandise, so go check it out right now, and go check out Big Daddy's podcast, Big Daddy Forever. It's on the C Plus feed as well, and he also has a solo YouTube channel, Big Daddy of C Plus Studios. Go give him some likes, give him some subscribes, and go check it out. And now we are here to talk about Thor.
Yeah, Thor, Love and Thunder.
Thor, Love and Thunder, man.
Directed and written by Taika Waititi.
I feel more bad for you because we've been talking about this, and you're like, I'm trying not to get my hopes up. Well, I'm not trying to go into, fully cocked at, like, yes, this movie's going to be everything. And just the expression throughout the whole movie, sitting right next to you, I was like, fuck.
I think it was a combination of stoic staring and mild concern was what was on my face the entire time.
And usually, too, there was a couple chuckles, but not enough to be like, oh, he really doesn't like this. Like, I felt so bad for you, because Thor is your favorite character, and, even before the movies were even a thing, a thought. And you had that look like me in a Green Lantern movie.
No, I think it was, what was the movie? I think it was BVS. When we left BVS, I was just like, man, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't care that much for it, but you were just not happy, and I was like, man, like I didn't like it, but I felt bad because you really enjoy these heroes, and
DC's my shit.
Yeah,
like,
especially Batman, and it was like you got screwed over on that, and I was just like, damn.
But the Ultimate Cut made up for it.
Maybe we watched the Ultimate Cut, and we're like, why the fuck was this not the original movie?
Yeah, but for you, I don't know if you're gonna get an Ultimate Cut if you want an Ultimate Cut. But
I don't think it's gonna make any difference. Like this movie in and of itself is just flawed.
I gotta tell you though, I liked the movie. I enjoyed it. I had fun. But I looked into it more, and I texted you this morning, and I said, this was strictly from Taika Waititi's brain. Ragnarok had a few writers, and, Taika did the directing and whatnot, so he was a little bit more on the reins of Disney in some nature, like Tim Burton was for Batman 89. And when Batman Returns came out, you could tell that was a Tim Burton movie. From the feel, from the characters, from the overall tone. And with this one, watching this one as somebody who's a fan of Taika Waititi and actually his work out with the New Zealand stuff and all that, I saw a lot of that humor in there, and I think that's why I was enjoying it, because Ragnarok and Love and Thunder are night and day.
Yeah, well, this is Multiverse of Madness all over again, where Multiverse of Madness is a Sam Raimi movie first and a Marvel movie second.
And this is a Taika
Waititi movie first and a Marvel movie second, which is sad because they have so much stuff established. Like, why were the Guardians even there?
Well, you had I don't know. I kind of liked it just because that's where he left with them at the end.
But why did they have him leave with the Guardians when he made absolutely no difference? Nothing in that made any difference at all.
Well, the thing too about it that made me laugh, I was like, man, they really want to kick him out. I felt bad for Thor because they're like, we just want to get rid of him.
Yeah, well, oh gosh. So when they're just like, we may need to separate, and you just see him standing there and his shoulders just actively drop.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, like, we talk about Wanda in frickin' Multiverse of Madness. I was just like, I lost everything. I lost my parents because of Tony. I lost my brother because of Ultron. I lost my sons because of myself. And I lost Vision because of Thanos. And you're like, wow, that's sad. But then you look at Thor, you're like, dude, Thor has lost so much more than Wanda did, and he continues to keep losing everything.
He even lost Jane.
Well, he lost. He lost his family, like all of his family. Then he got.
Well, they did that little montage thing at the start.
Everybody dying.
Yeah, and Loki died. Then he died again.
Died again. Yeah, no. So I was telling Cody about this before we went and saw the movie. I was really contemplating making a bingo card of things that would make this a good movie, things that would make this a bad movie. Like 2 different bingo cards of good Thor movie, bad Thor movie. And, if both of them got filled, it was a neutral movie. If one got filled, it was either good or bad, depending on which one got filled.
We should do that for just like,
For what, though? Like,
we need to see Elvis. Like, I've been dying to see this movie.
You were supposed to see that with somewhere else.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're losing their chance because they're taking forever.
Yeah. But one of the things in this movie that was a negative is Korg going to be in, like, how many speaking lines Korg has in this movie?
He had quite a bit.
He had too many. Like, it's not as bad as I worried about per se, but it was a lot more than it needed to be. It was one of those, Taika Waititi is a good director.
I honestly was like, oh, they killed Korg off, and then I was like, oh, well,
No.
that would have added some emotion to Thor losing another brother in a sense, and then losing Jane.
Well, he literally goes to kill Zeus right after that. Like,
yeah, that death should have been a death that would have driven the force for the story, but Taika ain't gonna kill himself off.
He's not gonna kill a character that people like. Because here's what Love and Thunder is. Everything that you liked about Ragnarok gets turned up to 20. Not even just turned up to 11. It's turned up to 20. So it's so excessive that you stop caring about those things. Like, honestly, Ragnarok, Korg, loved him.
But he's in small doses.
He's in small doses.
In Endgame, small doses.
I mean, he's barely in Endgame, yeah. But then you get Love and Thunder, and he's just there the entire time. You get the comedy. Ragnarok would pretty much undercut every serious moment with a comedy thing, but not necessarily in a distasteful way. Like when the Warriors 3 died. You know, when the first two die, Fandral and oh gosh,
Dude, you can't remember their name.
well, no, it's Fandral, Hogan, and I can't remember the last one's name. But when the first two die, it's just kind of like, oh shit. And like Thor never finds out about those from any actual source. But you immediately follow that with like Scourge getting on his knees and just, I'm just a janitor. Like, that's a silly moment to undercut the tragedy that just happened.
What about Sif coming back out of nowhere?
Yeah, that was a weird thing, because wasn't the reason she wasn't in Ragnarok because of shooting, like she was shooting a TV show or a movie or something like that?
No, she was in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She showed up in that.
Well, no, she showed him that after Ragnarok.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. When she showed up there, I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is some ties to the movies. And then it really didn't go there. And then when I saw her in this, I was like, where the fuck have you been? You know? Yeah. Into the Warriors 3, you know, that was a waste. Mm-hmm. Like, you know.
Well, and that's, I mean, the sad thing is this is another, what's his name? Ryan Johnson. This is another Ryan Johnson thing.
Oh, I wouldn't go there.
No. Like, listen to what I'm saying first. It's another Ryan Johnson thing where you take something that all the previous like people have established and just undercut it. You get rid of it. That was the Warriors 3. The Warriors 3 in the first movie, they're like Thor's best friends. The second movie, they're the ones that help Thor and Loki escape Asgard so that they can go to Svartalheim to try to stop Malekith. Third movie, they just die.
Yep.
Odin, first movie, he teaches Thor the entire lesson of what's going on. Second movie, you were left with this big, like, oh my gosh, Loki's taken the throne from Odin. Where's Odin in all of this? Undercut right away. Like, Loki's the same way, where it's like Loki took over Asgard. Oh my gosh, what's this gonna mean? Nothing at all. He goes to Asgard. There's this giant gold statue of Loki. He figures out Odin is Loki. Like, all of these things that were set up that could have been kind of cool or good beats for the movie in Ragnarok got undercut, and that was fine because ultimately that was a good movie. But then you've now gotten rid of all of this emotional drive so far. And Asgard got completely, utterly demolished, too, at the end of Ragnarok. What did that lead to? Pretty much nothing. Like, now they're all on Earth, and everything is fine?
Well, now they're a tourist trap.
Yeah. Oh, and friggin', Heimdall has a kid. How was this not something we knew at all before?
That's what the wife said. She's like, oh, I guess he was pretty busy, not to mention that he had a kid, you know.
Now I'm sure we're gonna find out the Warriors 3 have kids too.
But let's think it like this: if this was strictly a Taika thing, you know, because it's from his brain and stuff like that. This story, he is probably somebody's like, oh, he can have a kid. Well, how would that work? They'll accept it, you know. He's.
But you don't understand, and this is like a kid in his teens almost. Like, and
I wouldn't say he was in his teens.
Almost, he was probably like 12.
Yeah. But he had those powers pretty down.
Well, no, he didn't at first. She's like, I don't know how to do that necessarily. And yeah.
So do you agree, though, that they dumbed down Thor? I didn't feel like they dumbed down Thor.
Not from Ragnarok, but into Ragnarok they dumbed down Thor.
Yeah, like, I thought... Well, that's what I mean. Everyone was like, oh, they dumbed down Thor. And I was like, didn't we already kind of, like, have him go to that goofiness when he became Fat Thor? And
yeah, well, even before that. Like I say, Ragnarok, he was dumb Thor.
Yeah.
Like... That's when he's arguing with Surtur, or not arguing, when he's talking to Surtur, when he gets captured in the beginning of Thor 3, and he's spinning around that thing, and he's just like, wait, and he's like trying to spin himself around in the circle to make it so he can be seen again. Like, that's dumb Thor. Like, that's...
My buddy Colin was going to go see this movie, and he was just like, I heard that there's a lot of Guns N' Roses. I was like, there's a lot of Guns N' Roses. And I go, the thing that I didn't mind, because I'm a huge Guns N' Roses nut. Like, I love Guns N' Roses. But with this movie, my problem with the music was in Ragnarok, the was used twice in like the starting and the beginning, but there was a point to it, you know. And then when it happened, you're like, hell yeah! This felt like some Guardians cues to have that soundtrack there in place, and I thought that was like, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. For me, it's awesome. Like the starting with Welcome to the Jungle and Thor doing his splits and whatnot. Like, these are two different movies, and it's an hour and 59 minutes. Like, after we texted, because the wife was all like, She goes, that felt fast. And I was like, well, let me look. And it says an hour, 59 minutes on the runtime.
I mean, compared to Batman, it was very, very short.
Yeah, I know. And I've tested my patience very well with the Batman. But I was like, what, was it just like, okay, we want to get this movie out. I'm going to tell a fast, rapid story, because even when we got to the end, I was like, oh, we're already in the finish here. It wasn't as bad as Morbius, where it kind of just ended, but it was kind of like, we're here now. Here's the finale of the movie. But I loved Christian Bale as Gore.
Yeah. I don't think he should have been in this movie, but yeah. This had the wrong villain. No, yeah, this had the wrong villain. I think Christian Bale as Gore would have been amazing. It was amazing. But would have been more amazing if he'd been like a centralized aspect of the movie, because... Or
he was there, though, like, they were building to him in the Thor world.
Yeah, like, say, in this movie, like, the whole thing with Jane going on, they actually bring in Bor, Odin's brother, to try to beat her. Thor stops her, and he runs away, and then he ends up just being killed by a mysterious black sword. And then, oh no, what the hell killed him? Next movie we lead into, there's a lot of gods that have been being killed. Because that part was even really glossed over in the movie. Like, you have the beginning when you meet Gore, he meets his god.
They were semi-true to his origin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but then, like, when it was a sword, I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, it's kind of like a gooey thingy.
Well, so there's a reason they couldn't do that.
Yeah, because of the symbiote stuff.
Thing. The fact that Sony owns symbiotes.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. And so they couldn't use it as the sword of Null. They just had to use it as the Necro sword and make it an actual sword.
It's an Infinity Stone. Another one.
It's an anti-Infinity Stone.
Anti-Infinity Stone. But I would say, for me, personally, from start to finish, I was entertained. I laughed when I really
You laughed when you were told to by the movie, huh? Is that what you were about to say? It really seemed like that was what you were saying.
Pretty much, because like I got Taika's sense of humor, and it was there. Mm-hmm. And maybe the quirk thing for you was like how he was in Free Guy. Mm-hmm. Just he's turning it up to a point where like the whole scene with him and Valkyrie, Korg and Valkyrie, like I was just like this. I don't even understand what we're talking about here. When he's like, "Oh yeah, my father," blah 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 blah. Like they're talking. It's just that scene was weird. I won't lie. That scene where Jane, I like the scene where Jane and Thor's talking out here.
Mm-hmm, space dolphins.
With the space dolphins and stuff like that. But that scene where these two are trying to communicate with each other or talk to each other, and Valkyrie really got pushed to the side.
Yeah, no. Tessa Thompson. I think she should be a little irritated because in like Ragnarok, see that's the one thing from Ragnarok that didn't get like turned up was Tessa Thompson. Where in the last one, and in Ragnarok, she was a very key, pivotal character to all of it. This one, she's the king of Asgard, and
still an alcoholic.
But that's really about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it, but I mean, because she's such a fun character, and like,
I love when we first meet her when she's coming off the ship and she falls off.
Yep.
But that's what I said about the writing. That if you have several writers for Ragnarok, mm-hmm. you just let Taika direct, you know.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff improv via, like they've talked about that. There's a lot of stuff that was improv in the movie in Ragnarok, and that letting loose a little bit was fine, but giving Taika complete reign over it, I really think worked against the movie.
Yeah, and but what's weird is like Jane, like Natalie Portman has not really been like after Dark World. I know she had a lot like I don't want to do this no more. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be in these movies. This is why Jane kind of got pushed to the side, and she was mentioned, and she wasn't in game. It was a clip from Thor 2, mm-hmm. unused clip and whatnot, and everyone knew she was pretty much done. But I guess Taika was really like, hey, brought her up.
What I had heard about it, and the same with Christian Bale, is that both Christian Bale and Natalie Portman liked Ragnarok so much they wanted to work with Taika.
Christian Bale said it took a minute to like get him back in because he says I don't want to do no more comic book movies because he was at that point where he's like, man, put it on, the costume sucked in Batman. It was fun to do the character. He goes, but the costume thing. And what's funny to me about that though with Christian Bale, I'm like, you're a method actor. You go to extremes to like when you did Mechanic. You basically became a walking stick. So putting on a bat costume is too much for you?
Well, now, to be fair, he did do the Mechanic after he did Batman. So he had to go from that stick person to ripped Bruce Wayne.
Oh, my gosh. Remember that, though? That was, like, huge because I was like, because I saw a mechanic
100 pounds or something like that
Yeah.
of muscle.
And I saw behind the scenes a mechanic and how much what his diet was. It was nearly nothing. It was like water and not even bread. Like,
Yeah.
but for me, I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. Because like I said, I was entertained. I love the kids at the end.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't.
I felt the cringe inside your soul.
That was dumb. That was beyond stupid. Like, it wasn't comical to me. It wasn't fun. It wasn't entertaining. One, it was vastly irresponsible on Thor's behalf to do that. He really should have just gotten the kids the hell out of there and then gone from there.
No, like I said, there's points, because me and you have seen movies together so long, for so long now, that I can just feel the energy. And once the kids got the powers, I just felt that utter cringe of like, what the fuck is going on now? Are we going here? Are we really going here?
Yeah. That is probably in like the top 3 least favorite parts of that movie that I have, is those kids.
I thought you had a problem with Jane at first, because I asked you.
No, my problem with Jane in this movie is it should have been a reveal. It shouldn't have been in the marketing. It should have been like Gore the God Butcher in there, Thor in there, maybe Valkyrie in there, and then we watch the movie and it's just like, oh my gosh, like they shouldn't have shown that beginning part when she has cancer and the hammer. And then they just show there's this battle going on in Asgard. Thor sees Mjolnir flying around. He's like, wait, what's that? And it flies and it catches it. And you see Jane there. And it's just like, oh, crap, this is the line we're going with? And then...
Well, I think...
No, hear me out real quick to finish this. Then that scene on the boat, when he's talking to her and she says, I have cancer. Should have been the first mention of it. And we, the audience, and him would have been like, oh... crap. And, yeah.
I think they did that just for the marketing itself.
But that's stupid. Like,
well, but we did talk about how for some reason nowadays with marketing they're just like, we're just gonna show you the whole damn movie now when it comes to these trailers.
But after Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, maybe there's faith that I can have that they would keep things secret.
Well, they already announced her as the Mighty Thor at that Comic-Con like years ago.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we knew it was going to be this movie. We didn't know it was going to be like.
Yeah, we did. They said Love and Thunder, like the Mighty Thor's coming in here. So,
and that's also. I said that the kids fight scene was one of my 3. Another one of those 3 was the ending with Thor and the little girl.
Oh yeah, I felt that cringe hard too.
Like, it's not even a question of like, because here the things like. It's a kid. One way or another, it's a kid. And Thor, yes, when he was a child, he was brought into battle. But I feel like we can all agree that Thor's childhood, for how he grew up to originally, is not something he should be trying to emulate for somebody else. Like, it's...
I thought it was cute. I thought
bits of it were cute until there was a battle that they were going to. If it was like, hey, I'm taking her to school or something like that, cool, that's fine. But he's just taking her straight into a battle with her wielding Stormbreaker, a Titan-killing weapon. Like...
You felt that was a little irresponsible of him?
I felt it was a little irresponsible and super cringe.
What's the other one?
The other one is...
See if I can...
Well, see if you can guess it.
Let's see. I'm trying to go through this movie because it wasn't the Jane thing, which I thought was going to be one of your big ones. Was it the scene with the kids and Gore? Like,
actually, I thought that scene with the kids with Gore in the cage. You're talking about when he rips the head off the thing. No, I thought that one was actually pretty good. No, you're close though. It's actually the first time in the cage. It's the Heimdall thing when he first goes in there and the kids are all like, "Save us, and you're just like. It's
okay. I can see why that. Yeah.
And then he comes back later and they're all fine. And when he comes back later, they're not like, "Hey,
well,
Gore knows
the
that you're on the
narrative
way."
is them supposed to be getting braver as the story goes.
Well, no, and that's why I like that scene. The first scene is the one I have the problem with. The second scene with the kids in the cage when you get Gore, that one's pretty cool because that's kind of adorable. He's like, oh, this is Octi. Oh, you were just talking about how you loved Thor cutting someone's head off before.
Yeah, this is
like,
too much. Yeah, you know.
And then the third one, Thor shows up and he's like, you guys are far braver than I was as a child. Like, that was him growing as a character to help those kids. But the first one was so convoluted that it's like, oh, Heimdall has a kid who can speak to us now. We didn't mention any of this prior, but no, he does. He totally does, and we're just gonna have his ability to be something to anchor us.
At least in backstory, I mean, when Heimdall was stabbed, he could have said some form of dialogue, you know, protect my son, Thor, or something like that, you know, to keep the narrative, and all those can be in the theater, be like, what? And so when he was revealed in this one, because I honestly, when he was like, oh, Heimdall's my dad, I'm like, when the hell did this happen? It's like that. It's like, the one problem too I thought you had with the movie was the relationship with Thor and Jane, like that quick montage of them together. Because I was like, when did y'all have time to do this?
Yeah,
like,
well, and it's that one because that had to have been post Battle of New York, post Darkness, the Dark World, and pre Age of Ultron, I think, because after Age of Ultron is when he goes for the Infinity Stones and leaves, and it could have just been like immediately post Age of Ultron. It was when when they broke up. But yeah, their relationship, it's really sad because their relationship in the comic books is one of my favorite things.
Oh, dude, do you know how much I love the Jane
becoming
Thor? Like,
well, and the Odin son arc, the entire Odin, where he's just like, I guess I'm not Thor anymore.
Yeah.
He never has that arc in this thing.
Yeah, because like in when he lost it in Original Sin, you know, and after Nick Fury whispered in his ears, you know, they're like, what happened? And then you get that first issue
when he's on the moon,
when he's just trying, and then you find out Gore was right. That was the 3 words that he said in his ear, and then it goes into this great arc of King Thor and all this and that, and like. That was just pure Jason Aaron magicness, and then we got get a fun run with the Mighty Thor, with Jane as Thor, then her kissing Falcon, and everyone flipping out because, you know, then she says, I'm just doing it because I'm dying. Every time I use the hammer, you know. And I really wish the movie touched a little bit more on that, like the hammer's killing her. Like, because...
Again, there's so many things in this movie they just got, like, touched on, and they're like, yeah, this is we're matter-of-factly saying this. And you're like, could we not have exposited that better?
It's kind of like in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, I told everybody, I wish this was a moment you could have just had Paul Bettany's voice out of nowhere just say, Wanda, and you know, just that moment in cue that's just gonna rip someone's soul apart because she goes, I will take care of the kids, you go live, you know, the kids will be fine. And you just hear out of the background before Wanda gets pulled back to wherever she is, you just hear Wanda, you know, Paul Bentley's voice, and that's all you needed. You would have brought tears. You would have brought tears, mountains of tears for fucking, you know, everybody. But that moment in Thor, Love and Thunder, when she comes in and he's like, Jane, you know, I was like, I feel the emotion behind this, but I don't feel it's earned. You know.
Yeah, no, and I will say I really liked her costume. Although it's really hilarious to me that in the Mighty Thor could not tell who the hell that was.
Oh.
And then this one just instantly, like, he sees her, like, oh, it's Jane. You're like,
I'm sorry about his helmet.
Yeah.
For like a waste of like two minutes of having it on.
Not even, I don't think.
Yeah.
But she actually kept her helmet on. Like, I really like that about her, is you're just like, hey, it's kind of like, y'all know who Natalie Portman is. You've nailed this character. She's going to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's always been my problem with a lot of the Marvel movies. Like, everyone's like, oh, they got to show Robert Downey Jr.'s face. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but with Tony Stark, but I was like, I'm here to fucking see Iron Man.
No, well, and it's, so I think the cool way they deal with that most of the time is they show the interface inside his helmet when you see his face that way, and he's wearing the helmet still. So, like, that's how you get Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man on the screen at the same time. Where, like, Spider-Man. Yeah, I was going to say, Spider-Man is just
constantly fucking taking that thing, because we got to see Tom Hanks.
My secret identity isn't one of the best kept secrets in the entirety of the Marvel Comics universe. What are you talking about?
How Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man kept that mask on most of the time.
Yeah, well...
No, not as much, but, you know...
Better than Tom Holland.
Hey, do you know who I got to give it up to? Matt Reeves, the Batman, because he was in that suit quite a bit more than he was actually Bruce Wayne. So
Yeah.
was there a moment when he took off his cowl?
Like when you physically see him take off the
Yeah.
cowl? I don't know. I can't
Like
remember.
because I was watching BVS and I always love that scene. Like after he comes back after Superman wrecks the Batmobile and whatnot, and he's walking up there and he can see just like, I don't know, that
He
gave
like
me
rips the thing off.
rips
too.
it off
Yeah.
and goes up the stairs and he has the suit on, and I'm like, this is so animated series right now. This is fucking awesome. Like,
No, I don't. I actually don't think there's ever like we'll have to rewatch it. Although I don't know if I want to rewatch it all the way, but I don't think there's a scene where you see him physically take off the cowl, because like there's that scene in the club when he goes in with the bat suit in his backpack.
I think there's a brief moment where he takes it off and we see the makeup, or unless that was.
I think there's a lot of scenes that you see him in the makeup in the back. Well, Batcave is a strong word for where that was, but
The Wayne Foundation train station or something.
We've been very negative though about Thor so far, but and I said my 3 most cringy moments. But what were your 3 favorite moments from that movie?
The kids.
All 3 of those kid scenes I talked about.
The kids at the end getting their powers. I thought that was adorable. I liked. I got a kick out of it because my kid was fucking loving it, especially with the kid with the bunny, whatnot. I was just like, oh, rock on. I really love the Jane stuff. I wish we had more of her. Gore was Christian Bale. You know how much I love that man. Mm-hmm. Like every time he was on screen, I just felt that presence. And you're right. I wish we had a different villain. Or Gore was the build-up to the next movie, and when they said Thor in the mid, I don't know. I didn't really care. I'm sorry. I know the one thing I loved the most: Russell Crowe as Zeus. That weird fucking accent he had.
It was a Greek accent. It was legitimately a Greek accent,
but it was weird.
Yeah.
And his pranciness when he walks around. He goes,
when he's throwing his lightning bolt around, and he's just being a total weirdo about it.
You keep acting like that, you're not invited to the orgy.
Yeah, that's two Thor movies in a row that discuss orgies. So,
well, he goes, oh, it's my hero, blah, blah, blah. And he starts talking, and he goes, okay, maybe he's not a good example of.
Yeah. Which he could be a villain in a future movie. That could be a pretty neat.
Well, they got to establish that with the mid-credit scene with Hercules and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but Hercules isn't a villain. Like,
I don't know. My wife cringed at that part.
He was really CG too.
Yeah,
Hercules was like weirdly CG.
And that costume looked accurate, but it looked weird at the same time.
Because it was CG, I think.
Yeah. So, how about for you? Like, what was the moments that made you kind of feel a little alive inside?
So the scenes in the that really, really dark place, what was that called? I can't remember what the name of that realm was. But where there was no light, like there was no color.
Oh,
it was so dark.
When they went black and white.
Yeah. There were 2 parts in that I really enjoyed. One of them was whenever they were using their weapons, like there was that glow around the weapons that had color to it. And then there's one scene where Valkyrie is like flipping over on top of one of the shadow creatures, and it looks like it's just a drawn comic in motion. And it looked really cool. So that's one. And this was given in the trailer, but I still loved that Mjolnir could do the split apart attack. They could like shatter into pieces, and each of the pieces could go flying around and kick some ass.
Oh my gosh, I was like, we're selling toys at this point.
I know. And then I think the flick.
Oh, with Zeus?
When he gets flicked too hard, but not necessarily because of that, but
tattoo on his back?
The tattoo on his back. That is one of the few parts in this movie that made me legitimately like feel something where I'm just like, oh, he's always gonna have his brother. And there were a few parts that made me laugh. The goats made me laugh like twice, but they were on there way too much.
I felt that too.
Yeah, I mean those are kind of the key because, like I said, there were some good moments in this movie.
Stormbreaker being jealous was funny.
The first time that was funny.
Really, I liked it. I don't know. Every time he slowly just came in like this, and that was some New Zealand humor there where I was just like, oh, he's jealous.
But it's just one of those, like, I understand that to a point, but the fact that like he even abandoned Stormbreaker at the end of the movie. So what did that even do? He just gave Stormbreaker to somebody else.
I want to know how he got back Mjolnir at the end.
What do you mean?
Because didn't it shatter?
No. She put her. Well, we have another thing to discuss about that, sort of. But no, she collected the Necrosword inside of it and just kind of like destroyed the Necrosword with it. It stayed, it didn't stay together, but it stayed in its own pieces. Uber metal can't be broken like that. But yeah, he was just able to collect post leaving where they were. He could just collect it.
Well, I could have explained that better because, like, as soon as that scene that happened and whatnot, and Jane, you know, this and that, and when he at the end when he comes back out, it's like. Even I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what? Like, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's just really confusing to me, also, how Mjolnir behaves in this movie. In two fashions. One, we found out in Ragnarok that technically Mjolnir is just a conduit for Thor's power. It's not his actual power. The only thing that has power on it is that Odin gave whoever could wield the hammer the power of Thor, which is why it works for Jane that way. But Thor should not technically be getting any power from Mjolnir. That's literally what they say in Thor 3.
Well, that's what happens in Ragnarok. Remember when he finally unleashes?
That's what I'm saying. Is they kind of backtrack on that now. And then also, it seems really weird that in Endgame, Cap can call the hammer, and it goes to him. Thor, in Love and Thunder, can call the hammer to him, and it doesn't come. Like, there's that part where it's sitting on top of the barrel, and he picks it up, and he's like, hands it to Jane, because he's just like, oh, just checking, like, to make sure he's still worthy. So if he's still worthy, why wouldn't the hammer respond to him at all? Like,
maybe the hammer's jealous, too.
That doesn't make sense, though. Like, the hammer broke. But, no, that's, you know, we could go on for hours on how many little problems I have with this thing, which is why, ultimately, it just came back to being a 2 out of 10 for me. 2 out of 10. Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a roundabout.
I was like, well, that is a long roundabout way to get to that. Well, but, all right, 6 out of 10.
Just keep increasing your number.
6 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
Maybe when I see it again, probably gets cranked up a little more.
Maybe mine will go up, maybe it'll go down. I'm actually probably going to see it in the next few days. I'm going to actually try to watch it in 3D.
I can't do 3D. Unless it's gotten better.
I was listening to someone else talk about it in 3D, and they said there's certain parts that are like really cool to watch in 3D. So I'm hoping that maybe the visual aspect, which I'm going to be completely honest, to me was not the problem in this movie. There was no visual problems I really had in this movie. It was all story related, which is the hardest things to fix watching it again. But no, there's some really cool parts that I heard about how certain things when they're in that little water realm, how a lot of things are 3D done in that area, and there's
one experience I've always wanted to do. It's that theater that has the main screen in the front, then it kind of goes around to your side, so you kind of see everything in your peripheral.
That's not the one. That's not the really big, like the biggest screen. That's not that one, is it?
No, it's not that one. I know there's one in Hollywood, but yeah, like it's supposed to like the screen's like here, and it go. You know, you can see everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, either that would be really annoying and take me out of the movie, or either it's a whole experience that I want to try.
Yeah, I think it'd be an experience to try at least once. I don't know what I'd want to watch on that.
Like, I did the IMAX thing. The IMAX thing was cool, you know, but I did Mission Impossible. I could have picked something else.
You really could have.
Yeah, but I really wanted to see The Dark Knight Rises, so the first 15 minutes.
See, the thing is, as far as that goes, I don't know if I could watch The Dark Knight in theaters anymore. Like, if we were to do, like, a Batman trilogy, because I have seen that movie so many times. It is literally the movie at times I go to sleep to. And I think part of my brain, because when we went and watched it in theaters, I fell asleep during The Dark Knight. Because we were watching that, when The Dark Knight Rises came out, we were watching that triple...
You mean when I broke my tailbone and I had to sit there and suffer, and Juju fell asleep too. He fell asleep in Batman Begins, and I think he was halfway through The Dark Knight, right? He was asleep.
Before I woke up.
Then
Yeah, that was a really rough day for all of us.
Well, I would like to do The Dark Knight for like a birthday party, you know, because I was thinking this year of doing something for my birthday, like doing a birthday party at Harkins and whatnot. And I was like, I would have Dark Knight on because everyone knows that movie. We can all still laugh and talk, and you know.
I'd rather do like Batman 89.
Oh my god. You know,
like that's one I can say I've never seen in theaters before, and it would be nice to get to watch that on the big screen.
I saw Batman Returns in the theater.
Yeah,
I saw it, but it was at the little $2 mom and pop shop that I got to see that one. I didn't get to see Batman
Forever, Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin on the release dates. I saw them in the mom and pop shop, $2 free movie thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first time I ever got to really go see anything on the date it was released was Star Wars Phantom Menace.
See, I didn't get to see those.
Yeah, I got to
my. Sorry,
Good.
No, you first. Yours is relevant.
Oh yeah, I went to the that was like probably like the biggest first premiere I went to because I wanted to go so freaking bad, and I got to go and I went and took my little Taco Bell, those big old Taco Bell top things with Anakin on with the
The powder.
yeah. So that was like the first big premiere, and then after that I made sure to go to the movies and work my ass off and go pick up dog shit in like people's yards or clean their yards just to earn money so I can go watch a movie.
Yeah. No, see, my family was always, my dad specifically, he was the one I always went and saw movies with. He was always one of those, we'll wait until like the second weekend after it's out to go see it when the theaters aren't as crowded and stuff like that. So like I went and saw the Lord of the Rings movies that way. Like every time they'd come out the next weekend after was when my dad and I would go see it.
Oh yeah, we went to those. That was a whole family thing though, because the whole family was invested into the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know?
The first movie though that I went to the premiere showing of was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I think. And that was, I stood in line all day long. I was like 20th in line. Went and saw that.
Ah, the good old days.
Yeah, and then after that, it just became a state. Like I couldn't tell you how many movies that I've seen. I know you couldn't either.
No,
how many movies we've waited in
we've
line
camped
for
out for.
hours
We get
and
there like
hours.
2:00, 3:00 in the morning.
Which it has its own little like. That feels awesome that we did that to it, but I am pretty thankful that now we just get to.
Yeah, I'm
arrive.
thankful too. It was funny. It's like people are like, oh, technology's ruining things. I was like, man, I wish I had some of this shit back in the day, and seats that were reserved. I go, what was the last one that really fucked us up? It was X-Men. I can't remember which X-Men movie it was though. Like it was like our last big hoorah. Like going to the premiere or something like that. And like we all got sick or something like that, like afterwards. Yeah, because like we got there super early. We're like, we're gonna do this, and
I remember for Iron Man 2, Cody got sun poisoning, and after that refused to go early with us. And I was just like, well, that's what you get for living in a cave all day, my friend. But no, and we got screwed over a few times in those kind of things. The Harry Potter movie, or no, was it Harry Potter? There was a movie that we went and saw that, like, we started the day at, like, 5th in line, and we ended it at, like, 20th in line because the people in front of us kept letting people go with them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got so... And kids, these were the days where we're about to scrap over seats because there was times where we were first in line, been there all freaking day, then once they open those doors, people start running... And there was points where people sat where we wanted to sit, and since we had leeway, and
we knew the people at the theaters, and they saw us in the front of the line all day, and they were just like, "No, these guys were here first. Get out of there."
They're like, "Oh, well, no, like, no, get out of here."
Well, and then I can't remember. It was one of the Avengers movies, or not one of the Avengers, one of the Marvel movies that we were there all day long. They opened the theater for us to come in. We're walking down the hallway, and these people come out of the restroom and just go right in front of us, following down.
Oh.
And we'd seen them in the line before, and they're like, "No.
Yeah.
You go to the back."
Man, good times though.
Yeah,
Good times.
to be fair, I am happy that we don't have to deal with
No,
that anymore.
no, don't get me wrong. It's nice to reminisce, but how many times especially when I broke my tailbone, sitting out there, even just like falling asleep in the tent and stuff like those were cool, guys. Those were cool moments. But man, it's so nice to live in the future with tickets being reserved, or I can just buy them off my phone and wait for it. Because what movie did Lightyear. I took my dad for a Father's Day present. I was like, hey, tell Mom, tell Dad that I'm taking him to Lightyear, and she was just like, okay, well, he might want to go fishing. I was like, I already bought the tickets. And then she's, you drove all the way to the theater to go get the tickets? I was like, Ma, it's on your phone now.
You got a phone, you can just click like 4 buttons, and you got like 20 tickets. Now, to be fair, my problem with it is that some people know the system better than we do on this, and this is just our own personal
Like my
problem.
brother?
Yeah, but your brother didn't do it this time.
No, he was out to the side. I was kind of surprised by that.
There was someone else that sniped these, because I waited. I got up at like 5:30, because these tickets went on sale at 6, and I was just at like 5:50, just kept refreshing the page for the next 10 minutes. 6 o'clock rolls around and refreshed, nothing. I go back to the main page real quick. It shows Love and Thunder at all of the Phoenix theaters, but nothing in Flagstaff. Something in Prescott and Sedona, not in Flagstaff. Go back, refresh, nothing. Go back, refresh. I'm like, maybe I have to check Fandango. Go check Fandango, check, refresh, nothing. Go back to Parkins, check, refresh. Then I go one more time, check, refresh, and it pops up. I click on it right away. The center 5 seats are already gone. And I'm just like, how? Like, this is the second it's appearing. And now, next time, maybe I'll use a computer because I use my phone.
Yeah.
So maybe the computer would load a little quicker.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm working at a restaurant right now within Sodexo, the company I work for. And once I moved there for the summer, I was like, oh, shit, I need to put in a request time off. So I went and filled it out, and I went to the boss of the restaurant, and I was like, I haven't filled out one of these things in, like, forever, but I thought I should just because this is your place. I'm the boss over there, so, I just gave myself the days off when I could. Mm-hmm. But I was like, here you go. And he's like, what the hell is this for? I was like, Thor, Love and Thunder. He goes, you're going to miss 8 hours of work for a movie? I was like, hi, I'm Kyle.
Meet me. Have you known anything about me? Like, my job just knows that at this point in time. Like, they don't even question it. They're just like, oh, you're taking a Thursday off. What movie are you going to go see?
Yeah.
Like, they just know.
Yeah, and that's how it is in my world. But when I was in his world, he just looked at me and was just like, you really? I was like, dude, this is my thing.
You'd be like, hey, so what next time you take off, like, why are you taking this time off? Well, to go see my family. Well, this is my family. We do this thing.
Yeah, and we're still gonna do this thing.
Yeah.
Next is Black Panther. Wakanda Forever,
isn't it?
Well, I meant Marvel.
Oh, yeah. I was like, are we going to go see Black Adam, though?
Of course.
Now, actually, come to think of it, what was the last DC movie that we saw day of?
Oh, man.
Well, besides Batman. Actually, Batman would be that, technically. But prior
remember when we went to it and they had a countdown?
They had this random ass... We actually saw it the day before it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, and then they had the random ass countdown, and then they did the trailers.
No, they didn't do any trailers.
I thought they did.
No. Because we had that, absolutely no trailers. Then we went and saw Sonic, and I asked you about that, and like, is there a countdown? Like, no, dude, it's just going on.
Yeah. Okay, Sonic made me laugh because it was like...
There was no trailers. It just started.
I was like, God damn it, Sonic. It's going too fast.
Yeah. But I mean, legitimately, because we didn't see Shazam.
Okay, what was the last...
Wonder Woman 84 we didn't see. Did you see that in theaters?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did see that in theater.
I didn't see that in theaters.
I thought I saw it with you.
I thought I saw it on HBO Max was the first time I saw it.
No. You're right. Watched it on HBO Max because
it came out on Christmas.
Yeah, it came out on Christmas. Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
I think we watched at home because that was during COVID as well. And they were just releasing everything on HBO Max?
I saw that one in theaters. I know I saw that one in theaters, but I don't know if you went with me, and I don't think I saw it opening day. I think I saw it opening weekend.
I think I saw it on HBO Max when it was released, because it was released the same day.
And
you saw it in the theater.
Because I work over right next to the theater, so one day I was just like, I'm wearing a mask. I feel confident in myself. I'm vaccinated.
Hell, we didn't even see Justice League on premiere night. I think we went like the next day.
Yeah, we went the next... Like, that's what I'm thinking is like...
BVS? No. I think it was the next day as well.
No, BVS might have been a day of.
Would have been a day of?
Because I never... Yeah. Because if that's not the case, then I don't know if we've ever seen a DCEU movie. Because I didn't see Man of Steel.
I didn't see... Oh, I saw Man of Steel, the premiere.
No, but we
didn't see
Man of Steel, because I went and saw Man of Steel.
I didn't see Shazam.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I was kind of like, I don't know why I keep wasting my time.
Oh my gosh.
And
I think it's Aquaman. I think Aquaman is the last movie we saw the premiere of together.
During the
snowing.
You guys should find that podcast of our Aquaman review, because we almost died making that thing. And we said, this is the last thing we're going to see before Endgame.
Yeah. And we're like, dude, are we going to die after Aquaman but before Endgame, having Aquaman having been the last thing we saw?
Being up in the heavens, being like, God damn it.
But, yeah, no. Because, I think that might have... Because we saw Wonder Woman, but we didn't see Wonder Woman opening day.
No.
Because,
I know I saw Wonder Woman the day after.
Yeah, I think we both saw it the day after.
So.
Like, DC has never been one of them that we were like, premiere. Except for The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight Rises. Although that doesn't really count anymore in our books.
Yeah. The Batman. I would say it's probably like the last one we went to.
Yeah.
That actually premiered.
Which means the Aquaman and the Batman are the only two.
Man, look
DC
at our
movies.
DC run.
I know.
You know what's so funny is I realized I stopped doing this when I go to Marvel movies. You remember I always used to wear a DC shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you remember that when we went and saw The Dark Knight Rises, I wore my Thor costume?
Yeah. Oh, what happened to us? I'm getting old now.
Well, my Thor costume doesn't fit anymore, and I kind of retired that a long time ago. So
Yeah, you did.
well, I think the last time I wore it was probably Ragnarok or Endgame. One of the two of those.
I think it was Ragnarok.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm done wearing this. But it was then funny because then Endgame came out and there was a fat Thor. I was like, God damn it.
The opportunity.
I know. But
All right, y'all. So, Thor: Love and Thunder, 6 out of 10, 2.5.
Yeah, 2. So this is actually the first movie in a long time that our total score hasn't equaled 10. At least 10. So
I think I gave this. Wait,
because Multiverse, I think we both gave like 5s.
I know I did like this more than Multiverse.
Yeah.
I did enjoy this more than Multiverse.
Okay, but that's the hindsight because you didn't like Multiverse as much on your subsequent.
I didn't like it.
on
I didn't like the Doctor Strange stuff. I liked the Sam Raimi stuff, which I said before. And this one was like, okay, I'm just gonna get fully, into the story. No, not the story, but just the aspect of like, let's get to point A, point B, boom, it's over. Oh, and maybe we're just so used to long, freaking superhero movies at this point, and
maybe just throwing this out in the universe. Our next podcast together can be, since we've had such a big discussion and thoughts on MCU, doing maybe our top 5 and bottom 5 from each of them, just in a discussion.
Well, our next Marvel thing we're going to talk about is Miss Marvel, because
I haven't watched episodes 4 or 5, and I don't think I'm going to watch 6.
I think you should. That's what I'm saying, because people like your opinions.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so here, I will give you a quick thought on my feelings of Miss Marvel. I watched the first episode.
Do we have 2 hours?
I watched the first episode. Did not care for Kamala Khan's character nor the stylization of the show. If you're a younger audience member, maybe you will enjoy that. If you're an older audience member that specifically likes Kamala Khan's character, then cool. Maybe you'll like it. I did not enjoy it. Second episode, we get a little bit into her powers about it, but she is still superly disrespectful to her family on all the stuff they're trying to do for her, so I really can't tolerate that in her character. Third episode, you meet the Jinn, and you get a little backstory on the bracelet, and she is still an insufferable little girl who kind of ruined her brother's wedding. And she seems to not feel bad about how her actions are subsequently affecting anyone else. And then by the end of that episode, well, I guess the end of the episode is where she meets the Jinn. But by the end of the episode, I was like, wow, this is my favorite of the 3 episodes so far. It's still trash, but it's my favorite of the 3. So I made it halfway through the season and decided I do not want to watch this anymore. Do you remember? Okay.
Do you remember? At least exchange that then? We can start watching Rebels together.
Then we can talk about our least favorite Star Wars stuff, and that will be a 2-hour podcast in and of itself. But no, that is my quick thoughts on all of that. It has nothing to do with
You guys are lucky. I got 2 hours of that.
You did, and you guys don't get that because somebody forgot to unmute something.
That is true. Oh, yeah, we did that.
We did an entire podcast that you recorded.
I remember mentioning it because when I recorded the podcast solo one, we did an amazing freaking conversation about Miss Marvel, and that was thrown down the drain because this idiot over here did not push the unmute. And when I got to it, the audio was like, rah, 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 rah. I was like, oh, and I looked at the runtime, and I was like,
that was like 45, 50 minutes of us talking back and forth about that will never be heard by another life form.
And you can attest, it was like it was like a boxing match because
which is why I don't want to go through it again.
It was emotionally draining, but I felt so satisfied. I was like, "This is a great podcast," and then thrown down the drain.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, there's also another reason this is not as timely of a Thor podcast either. We could have been released the Sunday after the movie, but I was, let's say, emotionally distraught enough after that movie that you were like, hey, let's record the next morning. And I was like, I want to have a good day, so let's not.
So this drops a week after the film's out. Hopefully everyone's seen it at this point.
Gosh, I hope so.
I hope so. But there's there's people out there like, oh, I'll go see it.
I mean, or if you're not going to see it, I hope you don't just see it. Like I hope this is not an intermediary to you having not seen it to having seen it, because we just skipped over so much crap that it'll probably shine it in a better light in some aspects and a bad light in others, that if you're going in with our expectations, you're probably going to be confused as shit.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back and rewatch it. It's funny, is like with Multiverse of Madness, I was like, I'll wait until it hits Disney Plus. This one, I'm like, I want to go back and rewatch it at a big screen.
So the funny thing about, to talk about that, Ragnarok. My wife never sees movies in theaters twice. I went and saw Ragnarok, we went and saw Ragnarok opening day. Later that same weekend, I was like, I'm going to go see Ragnarok. And, I always ask my wife if she wants to go see a movie with me. She says no most of the time, but I still want to make sure I'm not excluding her from doing these things. And I asked her, I'm like, do you want to go see it? She's like, yeah. I was like, jeez. And then we went and saw it again, and she liked it again. And I was like, that shows how good of a movie this is. So, man, I
get the opposite. We saw the Batman, and then the next one I went to go take the kid, and the kid fell asleep, and I could just tell the wife's like, come on, come on. Then even I was kind of sitting there like, oh my God.
She leans over. Is it over yet? No, they haven't even caught the Riddler yet. We have an hour plus.
We have an hour plus, and right when it was over, I was like, all right, we can go. She's like, there's nothing at the end? Nope. Me and Doug did that for y'all.
Through that, yeah.
We're champs for that, so we
unless you want to sit through the entire thing just to see a single question mark on the screen typed. No, we're good.
Run. It's like Lightyear. The kid had to go to the bathroom, and I missed a bunch of scenes,
stories,
little mid-credit scenes. So that's another movie. I was like, I want to go back because I missed the first 10 minutes. And I missed all the mid-credit scenes.
Man, that was me with friggin' Sonic, was missing the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, so...
And, yeah. Well, and
I'm not rushing to go see Lightyear again.
No, well, so it's not like No Way Home when you missed the frickin' Matt Murdock scene. And I was just like, I said that to you in this podcast. You're like, wait, he was there? Charlie Cox was in the movie? I was like, oh shit, you didn't see that? You were there with me.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But, all right, guys. Go watch Thor, Love and Thunder. Let us know your opinions. Drop in the comments below what you like, what you didn't like. Was it better than Ragnarok for you?
Oh my gosh, if it is, then I think you should see other movies.
What was the thing, before we go, what was the thing you saw on the Reddit? Well, you guys aren't Marvel fans.
Yeah, there was someone who posted the thing was a meme. And it was that scene from Ragnarok where Thor is holding the ball, and where he's like, that's what heroes do, and he throws it in the wall and hits himself.
Yeah.
And it's just like Marvel fan or someone hating all Phase 4 stuff. Then they throw the ball and it hits and it comes back and it says not really a Marvel fan. And I'm just like, no, that's not how that. You are allowed to dislike things that are made by a company. You have a right to demand that good things are given to you.
I've had people like, oh, there's not a bad Marvel movie. I was like, Iron Man 3.
Well, that's your opinion on that too.
Yeah.
So,
but there's a lot of people who worship these movies, and God bless, go for it, man. But there's just people I'm like, yeah, we have opinions, and opinions should be shared amongst one another. But if you're gonna just be naive and just say you're wrong,
yeah, no.
Okay, why am I wrong?
If you have to declare that everything from a company is perfect, or you don't like that company, then I evidently don't like any companies, first and foremost. But second, you are not helping an industry grow. You're helping an industry mire in complacency, which is causing everyone to repeatedly release the same shit over and over and over again, which is why we have a Clerks 3 coming out.
That's weird. I was just about to... This is why, even though I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, I have not listened to any reviews from that man anymore. Because that man loves everything and is kind of annoying. Like, the trickle of my Kevin Smith... I'll listen on different podcasts, but when he's with Mark Bernardin on Fat Man on Batman, where they initially do the reviews for these things, and he's just sucking a dick of the movie or whatever that he saw, and I'm guessing he's going to do that for Love and Thunder. It started with Aquaman. When Aquaman came out, and he's like, oh, fuck yeah, this movie was great. I was like, Kev, have an opinion. Like, I know you are trying to play safe with everybody. I know you want to make sure you don't make the wrong people mad, because...
Now, that being said, though, even we found some positive stuff out of Aquaman. Now, I would not say that every single project is inherently flawed, but I will say we typically keep things to a higher standard. Because when we went and saw Aquaman, we're like, man, this is complete shit. I mean, except for the costume design. The costume design was on point. But, like, we still found something in there to enjoy.
I think I felt the way you felt, and like I did in Aquaman. Because I love fucking Aquaman. I think Aquaman's such a badass character, and what they did in that movie, especially story-wise, it was like, he doesn't want to be king. He doesn't want to be king. You make him king. He just does. He didn't earn to be a king.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like his character didn't develop once so fucking ever.
Yep. No, but that's true. But we still found parts in everything that we've watched. Yes, we've been very critical of what it is, and that's. I mean, we're not full-blown critics, but we do enjoy our idea of critiquing things.
It's like The Last Jedi. I hate that movie more than anything in life itself, but there's some cool fucking things in the movie, like the throne scene.
The throne scene, yeah.
The Holdo, even though she's fucking worthless.
The Holdo maneuver.
Yeah, the Holdo maneuver. That was fucking cool in the theater to see. You know, it was like...
Oh, that was... I think that, like, I've watched that movie once since then, and that scene was not nearly as impactful as when you were watching that in a movie. Like, the silence of it all, with everything going on. But... And there are positive things we found in that. And even with me, with Rogue One. That Vader scene.
You always had to think about it, too.
That Vader scene, I think, is the only thing in that movie that I just stood by and went, wow, that was really, really cool.
And can I admit something? Like, I didn't want to tell you, like, after you saw the movie, like, because I just felt how much you didn't like Thor, Love and Thunder. There's parts I really wanted to cry that were going to make me cry in the movie.
But my rage sitting next to you kept you from it.
Yeah. It was like my race seed. You took my race seed away.
Dude.
You took my emotions away because I was like, I want to cry and so bad right now because this is really touching me emotionally. But there's this man next to me named Doug, and he has the face of...
There's just an aura emanating from him of just disdain. Why?
Yeah, because like when Jane was dying, and when she came back, when you know, there's those moments got me, and like I felt the tear. I was like, "Don't put your hand up there. Don't put your hand to wipe your face. He's sitting right next to you."
And it's so. Here's another. Wow, we almost went to the end of this, then swerved right back into it. So another thing to note for our Love and Thunder watch that was also true for the Batman, which maybe it's just dying out in theaters. But definitely was not true when we went and saw Spider-Man or Endgame. There were no times in this premiere, the first time it's showing in our area, that anyone popped.
No.
Like, there were so many scenes where they kind of, like, leave a small break in for people to pop that something's happened.
People popped in Doctor Strange. That was just because of the
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
Yeah, the Illuminati shit, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that part. But, like... There are scenes where they literally leave like a few seconds of just on the screen silence so you can appreciate this. Nobody cared. Like the James showing up scene, Darcy showing up, which it's funny.
Darcy's showing up and being gone from the rest of the film?
Yeah. I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, you know, this movie almost had enough Darcy in it. If they just taken out that first scene she was in, it would have been enough.
You don't like Darcy? I love Darcy.
Okay, I love Darcy in the first one. Couldn't care for her much less after. She was fine in WandaVision, but like she went from this character of.
I remember when she popped up in WandaVision, I was like,
"Where
the fuck have you been?"
That's a weird person to just suddenly appear. But like first Thor, she was the intern that was kind of like the juxtaposition to Jane. Then in Dark World, she had her own intern as an intern, and it was all about her making silly jokes the entire time. Didn't care for it. Then WandaVision, meh. And then you had this one where she just barely shows up, and I was like, yeah, because it just went on this weird decline.
Well, she wasn't even in the flashback scene with their mom.
Yeah,
that one I felt kind of surprising when they showed Jane like having those flashbacks of her mom having cancer and this and that. I was like, Darcy isn't even in this. God damn, they just threw her to the side.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Tell us what you thought of Thor: Love and Thunder. Like and subscribe. Share with your grandma. Share with your grandpa. Share with the bum down at Walmart. Let us know in the comments below. And go check out crazyhoodies.com with a Z. Crazyhoodies.com with a Z. All designs made by Big Daddy. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Anything else?
I mean, do we want to go on more tangents? I think we should save that for later.
I know. KMB The Sexy Ninja?
I'm Doug.
Welcome to the wicked shit.